Could things change in the future? Absolutely. Could the grand jury say, "Hey, this looks like self-defense. We're not going to do anything with it"? They can do that. They can do that too.
I just can't believe
no idea.
You know, I had to be in a situation where I had to defend myself.
I get you.
Like that, and now I'm going to jail.
Well,
I'm not getting to go home and go back to bed or smoke a cigarette or anything. I'm being punished for someone putting my health and a risk of personal injury at risk.
I get you. And the thing with self-defense is, I'm not saying if you were right or wrong. Okay, that's for a jury to decide, not for me to decide. Basically, I have to go based upon probable cause whether or not a crime was committed. And at this point, there's probable cause that the crime was committed. There may have been a defense in your part, but like I said, that's for a jury to decide, not for me to decide.
So you think there's a crime being committed by me?
Well,
November 3rd, 2024. It's 1:30 in the morning in Salina, Ohio. Samuel Paul, the shirtless man you see in this video, has just shot his stepson. And here's the strange part. He immediately calls the police. He cooperates. He explains. He gives details. He justifies everything. He truly believes he's going home that night. But instead, he'll get 10 years in prison. Because that night, for several long minutes, every single word that came out of his mouth was a lie. And in this video, I'm breaking it all down for you, step by step. But before we dive into this case, tell me in the comments, what time is it where you are right now? And most importantly, where are you watching from? Texas, Montreal, London, somewhere in Africa. If enough people vote for one specific city, I might just analyze a real criminal case that happened there. Who knows? Maybe the next video will be about your region. So take 2 seconds, drop a comment, and make yourself heard. And now, welcome to Caseborne.
But when he comes back in my house and starts walking towards me and telling me he's going to beat my ass, that's where I got to draw the line.
okay. So tonight you were asleep up there in the front room.
Right.
And you hear stomping around in the house.
Right.
Any idea what time that was?
Oh, God, that had to have been like, I don't know, that would have been like 5 minutes before I called the actual police department.
Okay.
I didn't get a chance to take a look at a clock or anything, so I really don't know.
But it wasn't that far
No.
ahead of.
No.
And then you got up, and at that point.
At that point.
And you're hearing him. Where are you hearing him at? Do you see him, or you just hear him at that point?
I seen him go the very end of the stairs.
So you saw him going upstairs.
I saw him going up the stairs.
Okay.
And then while he was up there, I can't talk very loud because
I
I've got a voice problem right now.
All right.
But I told him that he's not allowed there at the house. That I had called the cops.
You just yelled this upstairs.
I yelled as loud as I could. He heard me because he started yelling all kinds of dumb shit that he turned it off, and this and that, and that I need to get evicted or he's going to get me evicted. He's just staggering his words so much I don't know.
Okay.
But when he came downstairs and looked me straight in the face and told me he was going to come beat my fucking ass, that's when, I'm like, no.
And where were you guys at when this happened?
Okay. I call it my bedroom wall.
Mm-hmm.
The blanket.
Mm-hmm.
I was standing at the edge of the blanket.
Okay.
Right? Like, so I could back into my room if I had to.
I got you.
And I did. And when I went in there, that's when I called the cops.
Okay.
That's when I called the police.
That's when you called.
Yep.
So he came downstairs, and there was a confrontation right there in that front hallway.
In that hallway.
Right in front of your bedroom.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
And everything's still trying to kind of like playing in my head. I'm trying to get you as detailed as possible.
And I appreciate it. That's why I'm kind of taking it step by step to try and get you to work through it. So at that point, he's telling you he's going to beat your ass.
Right.
Is that like his exact words, or do you remember what he said? Or
he used, I'm gonna beat your ass. I'm coming back to fuck you up. As soon as I go out to the car, I'm coming back in. And I'm like, nah, dude, I'm calling the cops. And that's, like I said, that's when I called the cops. And then he's still going at it, getting up in my face.
And this is still right there in that front hall?
Right there in that front hall.
Okay.
So he steps outside.
Okay.
I don't know what he's doing out there, but I know the other kid's name, but I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Okay.
I've only actually met him a couple of times.
Okay.
But they stepped outside, and Chris came back in, and at that point, I had reached into my bedroom and grabbed my gun.
Where was your gun sitting at?
It was actually like the side of my bed comes down, and there's the board that goes across.
Mm-hmm.
It was right in there, like a holster.
Okay.
There was no holster there, but it was sitting there because I was worried he started saying this shit earlier today when I called the first time.
So he comes back in after going outside.
Yep.
And at that point, you grab your gun.
I grabbed my gun, and I don't remember how the CCW class is here, but out in Vegas, they teach you to do the elbow shove to get the distance.
Okay.
When I did, he kind of turned at the doorway, and I fired.
Okay. What was he doing when he came back in? What was his behavior at that point?
He was enraged. He was mad. He was coming straight for me.
Okay. Did he have his fist up? Did he hit you? Did he push you? Did he punch you?
He didn't get a chance. He had his fist balled, but that was about it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I should have grabbed my chapstick.
So how close were you guys when you shot him?
I don't know, probably from here to the edge of the desk.
So
I got him pushed when he was going out the door.
okay. All right. So maybe 3-4 feet?
4 feet.
How many times did you shoot?
Just once.
Just once.
I shot him low, trying to hit him in the leg. I didn't want to really kill him or anything.
I got you. I know there was a couple of kids out there. Where were the kids at when all this was going on?
I mean, I didn't see him.
You didn't see them?
I did not see any kids.
Okay.
I know he's got 2 of his kids from a different woman up
Okay.
here for visitation this weekend.
Okay. All right. So the kids weren't there before all this happened?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Like, before he showed back up, the kids weren't in the house?
No.
Okay.
No.
And were you guys inside when you shot him, or were you out on the front porch?
He had just staggered out onto the porch from where I elbow shoved him.
Okay. So you shoved him out onto the front porch.
And then when he went to go to turn around and come back, I fired.
Okay. So were you on the porch, or were you inside, or where were you standing?
I was inside.
So you were you just inside the door?
Just inside the door.
Okay. All right. And what did he do from there?
He fell to the ground and got back up and started walking out to the car. I guess his friends were going to take him to the hospital or wherever.
Okay. Did he?
So, that's what Samuel wants you to believe. But tell me, does that really sound like self-defense to you? Because in the next part, we'll see there are still plenty of strange things in what he said, and the detective caught on fast.
Neighbors haven't called.
I got you.
And someone did call the other day.
Okay.
So it wasn't me.
Okay.
But someone obviously heard him and did call.
Sure.
And, it's just, it escalates so bad when he drinks. Because he gets belligerent, he gets mean. I mean, he calls her cunt and whore and slut and this and that. And the people that were down there tonight, that were with him tonight when he came down there, those are his orgy buddies. They come there and, they have their little orgies, get high, drink, get drunk, and it's a sexcapade upstairs.
Right.
You know, and it's like, other people's business, not mine, have at it.
Sure.
I probably would have done it when I was younger.
Yeah.
You know, it's what it is. But he calls her a whore, and I mean, I do not like Brittany. Don't take this the wrong way. Me and Brittany have never gotten along.
Okay.
The whole 10 years that me and her mom have known each other, 11 years me and her mom have known each other. I won't say anything bad about her. We just don't get along.
Okay.
You know, but she does not deserve to be called a whore and a bad mom. He calls her a bad mom because she takes...
Here, Samuel clearly paints his stepson, Chris, as a bad person. And listen closely. This is where his story starts to take a different tone. He's not just explaining what happened anymore. He's shaping a narrative. You can almost hear the shift. Suddenly, Chris isn't just the guy who got shot. He becomes the villain of Samuel's story. Samuel describes him as unstable, reckless, drunk, verbally abusive. He throws in words like orgies, chaos, danger, trying to make you feel disgust instead of sympathy. It's a classic tactic. Demonize the victim to justify your actions. It's not about facts. It's about emotions. If Samuel can make you believe that Chris was a monster, then his own actions start to look almost reasonable. Like he didn't shoot a man. He stopped a threat. It's subtle, but it's manipulative as hell. You know what's interesting? This exact pattern shows up in a lot of famous cases. Take Jodi Arias, for example. Remember her? Back in 2008, she killed her ex-boyfriend Travis Alexander, stabbing him 27 times before shooting him in the head. And yet, when she spoke to the police, she didn't sound like a killer. She sounded like a victim. She told investigators that Travis was abusive, controlling, even perverse. She said she feared for her life. And for a while, people actually believed her. Because she didn't just tell a story, she reframed reality. But when the evidence came out, the photos, the autopsy, the timeline, everything collapsed. It turned out Travis wasn't the monster she described. The abuse was a narrative shield, a way to turn cold-blooded murder into self-defense. And that's exactly what Samuel Paul is doing here. He's not defending himself legally. He's defending himself morally. He's building a story where he is the responsible adult, the protector, the man who finally snapped after being pushed too far. But that's not what happened. Chris wasn't attacking him. He wasn't armed. He was literally walking away. And yet, Samuel talks about him like some uncontrollable force of destruction. He doesn't sound afraid. He sounds disgusted. He's not saying, "I was scared." He's saying, "I couldn't let this evil go on." See the difference? That's what makes it manipulative. When someone reframes a killing as a moral stand, it changes how you perceive guilt. It's not just lying about what happened. It's reprogramming how you feel about it. That's the real trick behind victim blaming in these cases. And once you notice it, you can't unsee it.
So at that point, he's telling you he's going to beat your ass.
Right.
Is that like his exact words, or do you remember what he said? Or
He used, "I'm gonna beat your ass. I'm coming back to fuck you up. As soon as I go out to the car, I'm coming back in." And I'm like, "Nah, dude, I'm calling the cops." And that's, like I said, that's when I called the cops. And then he's still going at it, getting up in my face.
And this is still right there in that front hall.
Right there in that front hall.
Okay.
So he steps outside.
Okay.
I don't know what he's doing out there, but I know the other kid's name, but I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Okay.
I've only actually met him a couple of times.
Okay.
But they stepped outside, and Chris came back in, and at that point, I had reached into my bedroom and grabbed my gun.
Where was your gun sitting at?
It was actually like the side of my bed comes down, and there's the board that goes across.
Mm-hmm.
It was right in there, like a holster.
Okay.
There was no holster there, but it was sitting there because I was worried he started saying this shit earlier today when I called the first time.
So he comes back in after going outside.
Yep.
And at that point, you grab your gun.
I grabbed my gun, and I don't remember how the CCW class is here, but out in Vegas they teach you to do the elbow shove to get the distance.
Okay.
When I did, he kind of turned at the doorway, and I fired.
Okay. what was he doing when he came back in? What was his behavior at that point?
He was enraged. He was mad. He was coming straight for me.
Okay. Did he have his fist up? Did he hit you? Did he push you? Did he punch you?
He didn't get a chance. He had his fist balled, but that was about it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I should have grabbed my chapstick.
So how close were you guys when you shot him?
I don't know, probably from here to the edge of the desk.
So
I got him pushed when he was going out the door.
okay. All right. So maybe 3-4 feet?
4 feet.
Here's another part that clearly shows something's not right. Samuel keeps repeating the same idea, that Chris was enraged, coming straight for him. Fists clenched, only 4 feet away. At first glance, it sounds like a typical self-defense story. A man cornered, facing a violent threat, forced to react. But if you slow down and really listen, the details don't add up. For feet of distance, that's not exactly imminent danger. And there was a door between them. That changes everything. If someone's behind a door, you're not being attacked, you're observing. So why insist so much on this image of a man charging toward him? Because it's the core of his defense. It's the only way to make the shooting sound justifiable. But the more he talks, the more it feels rehearsed. He describes the scene like someone directing a movie, measuring space, emphasizing gestures, amplifying emotion, all to make the threat sound real. It's not a memory anymore, it's a performance. And what really kills his version of the story is the eyewitness testimony. That witness said Samuel walked around another person, deliberately, just to get a clear shot at Chris. And then he pulled the trigger while Chris was turning away. That single detail destroys his entire "he came at me" narrative, because you can't be attacked by someone's back. So what's happening here is pretty clear. Samuel isn't describing what happened. He's controlling the narrative of what he wants to have happened. He's trying to create a mental picture that evokes fear, urgency, and legitimacy. A story where pulling the trigger sounds like the only option. But it's not. And deep down, you can feel the detective sensing it too. The tone, the phrasing, the over-explanations. It's the language of someone trying to convince, not recall. This moment tells us a lot about Samuel's mindset. He's not just defending his actions. He's directing the story of his innocence. And that's where his credibility begins to crumble.
I'm going to go back to bed or smoke a cigarette or anything. I'm being punished for someone putting my health and a risk of personal injury at risk.
I get you. And the thing with self-defense is, I'm not saying if you were right or wrong, okay? That's for a jury to decide, not for me to decide. Basically, I have to go based upon probable cause, whether or not a crime was committed. And at this point, there's probable cause that the crime was committed. There may have been a defense in your part, but like I said, that's for a jury to decide, not for me to decide.
So you think there's a crime being committed by me?
Well, so the way the law is written is you can commit a crime, but sometimes there's a defense to committing that crime. That's what self-defense is.
Right.
Okay. So the two you have to show to a jury that there's self-defense, and that basically overrules any crime that was committed. That's the way the law is written. Okay. So that's why you're being incarcerated tonight, is because of the way the law is written.
I wouldn't have been so willing if I'd have known that I was going to jail tonight. So, I mean, I would have been like negative.
I get you.
But
I get you.
I've been forthcoming with everything.
And I appreciate that. And I'm putting everything you told me tonight is going to the prosecutor for the prosecutor to review and for the grand jury to see.
And that's Monday, so I'm going to spend a whole weekend in jail.
Yeah, you'll see the judge on Monday, and the judge will decide bond on Monday.
This ain't right.
So
this ain't right at all. I'd like, if I request an attorney now, can I go home?
No.
And give me an attorney?
No.
No.
You
That ain't right.
can call him You can call and consult with an attorney if you like.
Because something's just not right here. I mean, I was held in that car for well over an hour with nothing. You know, I'm with no information on anything. I defend myself, and I have to go to jail. I mean, that's just not right. I mean, you guys can't even think that I'm going to go to jail with you guys. I'm not going to give you guys. I'm not going to resist or anything. But I'm just saying, this is not right by no means.
And all we're doing is we're going off of, you know, what's presented to us.
I mean,
okay?
even when I was being detained at my house, I couldn't get my cigarettes. I couldn't smoke.
And here it happens. The moment the carefully constructed story starts to crumble. Samuel's calm, controlled mask, gone. In its place, frustration, indignation, a man who suddenly can't believe the world is turning against him. He says things like, "This ain't right. This ain't right at all. I defend myself and I have to go to jail. I've been so willing with everything." Hear that? The shock, the outrage, it's almost audible. He believed that cooperation alone would shield him, that honesty in words was enough to make the law bend. And when reality hits, the arrest, the consequences, he's blindsided. This is classic narcissism in action. I've done everything right. I told the truth. I cooperated. I deserve to go home. He doesn't understand that reality, cold, indifferent, and rule-bound, doesn't care about your perception of fairness. It's the same pattern we've seen in other notorious cases. Take Casey Anthony. She believed that by talking, by cooperating, by framing herself as the rational, caring mother, she could dodge suspicion. But the contradictions, the lies, the inconsistencies, they piled up, and they crushed her credibility. Samuel, he's following the same path. He thought he could talk his way out, shape reality with words. But evidence doesn't lie. Witnesses don't care about your story. And the law certainly doesn't. This is the moment where the illusion shatters. You realize he never controlled the story. He thought he did. But now the mask is off. The bravado is gone. All that's left is a man clinging to the version of reality he desperately wants everyone else to believe. And for us watching, it's fascinating. Because for the first time, we see not just the story he tells, but the true man behind it, entitled, frustrated, and finally exposed. At the end of the interrogation, our Samuel found himself standing before the judge. All the stories, all the explanations, all the attempts to justify his actions, none of it mattered anymore. The law is not swayed by clever words or moral arguments. It is guided by facts, evidence, and the reality of harm caused. He was sentenced to 10 to 12.5 years in prison. A heavy sentence? Absolutely. But when you consider the facts, it becomes clear why it was so severe. He shot a man in the back, a man who was leaving, unarmed, with no immediate threat. Christopher Mangus survived, yes, but his injuries were life-threatening. Imagine being him, or his family, the fear, the trauma, the lifelong scars. How would you feel if someone you trusted, someone meant to protect your family, turned a gun on you? Could the pain ever fully go away? Could the sense of safety in your own home ever return? This case is also a reminder about the true nature of self-defense. It's not enough to feel scared or to believe someone deserved it in the moment. The law is clear. The threat must be real and imminent. Your response must be proportional. Shooting someone who is walking away, turning their back, or retreating is not self-defense. It's assault. It's a choice with consequences that can last a lifetime. Ask yourself, have you ever been in a tense situation and wondered whether fear justified a reaction? Or seen someone try to spin a story, making themselves the victim while hiding the truth? How would you react if you were in Samuel's shoes? Or, even harder, in Christopher's? This case forces us to reflect not just on crime, but on human psychology, responsibility, and empathy. Samuel tried to control the narrative. He wanted to look like the reasonable man, the victim even. But facts, witnesses, and justice cannot be rewritten. The truth has a way of catching up. So here's something to keep in mind. Before you ever claim self-defense, or trust someone else's claim, pause. Ask yourself, is the threat immediate? Is it unavoidable? Is my response proportional? These questions are not just legal. They're moral. They're human. And now, I want to hear from you. What do you think about Samuel's story? Was this really self-defense, or a calculated act disguised as one? Have you ever seen someone twist the truth to make themselves the victim? Share your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. In the next video, I might feature your insights on screen, so your perspective becomes part of story. If this breakdown gave you a new perspective on interrogations, lies, and justice, make sure to subscribe for more. There are countless more cases, truths to uncover, and lessons to learn, and I want you to see them with me. Remember, truth matters, evidence matters, and empathy matters. What would you have done differently if you were in this situation? Think about that.
smoke. I couldn't get clothes. I couldn't do nothing.
Right. Well,
That's not right. If I went under arrest, I should have been able to go.
Well, we are legally allowed to detain you while we're doing our investigation. And like I said, an investigation like this isn't something where I can figure out what happened.
Right, you can't
in 30 seconds.
Yeah, you can't just go, hey, this is what happened.
Right.
I get that.
It's a more complicated thing than that. So,
like I say, we're following protocol on what we have to do.
I know. I'm just
So-
I've been trying to get my phone to call my wife or let her know what's going on. I wanted my shirt and shoes. I wanted my cigarettes, and all this stuff was told I could get. No, I'm not. No, I'm going straight to jail. This is a little bit of crap. I'm just letting you know. You know.
well, I didn't say anything about your shirt and shoes and cigarettes and that kind of stuff. If you're being detained by us, you're not allowed to eat. You're not allowed to drink. You're not allowed to smoke because we don't want somebody taking drugs or something like that while they're in our custody. Okay, that's the reason why that happens. Okay, and in something like this, we're investigating what's potentially a violent crime. We want to make sure that everybody's safe. That's why we control everybody's movement on a scene like that, not just yours.
It makes sense.
I mean, we're not trying to pick on you. We're not trying to be dicks about it. It's a safety thing, and we have to jump through the hoops that we've got to jump through.
I know, but I've been so willing and everything. I shouldn't have to go to jail tonight. You guys know I ain't going nowhere.
I get you. But like I said, that's the judge has to set bond on you. That's her decision. Or actually, it'll probably be Judge Fox. I take that back. Probably his decision. But it's going to be his decision to set bond on you. Okay. So flight risk of harm, all those kind of things he'll take into account. But I can't decide bond. That's way above my pay grade.
I wouldn't be able to pay bond tonight anyways. So I might have 45 cents somewhere.
I got you. So.
Well, let's go on out to the car here, okay? Like I said, it's, at this point, it's just going through the court system, okay? On what, how we get through all this then, okay?
Right. I just don't think this is right, me having to go to jail tonight.
Okay.